All right, guys, I'm here at the first ever NIO house, the most expensive NIO house in terms of rent, rumored to cost around 100 million RMB per year in rent. Now, this NIO house is actually pretty important because it is facing Chang'an Street. So every year when President Xi has the soldiers march down Chang'an Street and also the tanks and everything, then it's broadcast on national television and you can actually see this NIO house in the background. And the soldiers can also see this NIO house in the background. So it is a very big advertising symbol. Now this NIO house looks kind of empty. It is a Wednesday afternoon, 5 p.m.-ish. Lots of sales rep, not many customers. You got staff over here as well talking to customers. Upstairs, there's plenty of NIO owners actually. Just chilling out, and then the kids playing at Joy Camp, etc. I talked to the general manager of NIO here in Beijing. You know, he said the rent here is, of course, the most expensive, but it is the most necessary. It is the most worth it in terms of brand advertising. And that's exactly how you guys should see it for these big NIO houses in terms of cash burn. Now, this NIO house, if you look at it from an advertising perspective, it is absolutely worth it because it just lifts the brand status up there. So NIO lost $800 million in Q2. If you take into account their current cash balance, then basic math calculation, they have about 5 quarters of cash left. But then we got to talk about why I'm not worried about bankruptcy at all. And this is not financial advice, just based on what I know and my opinions, all right? And I've made it clear in the past that there's no doubt we are losing tremendous amounts of money. We're running towards the cliff, but we will not go over the cliff, in my personal opinion. And the reason is threefold. There's 3 big reasons for this. The first reason is NIO is already one of the biggest companies in terms of charging infrastructure. If for some reason NIO's cash balance gets very low, the share price gets depreciated, and the company market cap is very, very low, there's tons of companies willing to scoop up NIO and basically buy them for the infrastructure alone. The charging infrastructure and swapping infrastructure alone are worth billions and billions. And also all the patents, the R&D, the tech that NIO has, and also the storefronts that NIO has, these are all worth a lot of money. And if it's very cheap, then of course people will buy it. That wouldn't be NIO's first option. But there's other reasons why I don't think NIO will go bankrupt. And that is also because NIO's CEO is a master at financing. This guy, he graduated from the best university here in China. And he himself, he's able to get money basically anywhere, whether it's from governments or from people abroad under a rock in the desert, from Saudis. So personally, I'm not worried about bankruptcy at all because of how NIO CEO is capable of getting financing pretty much anywhere, from his friends, from any sort of place. So in that aspect, I'm not worried, all right? But also, if you have to think about it, in terms of the cash burn rate as well, and of course, 5 quarters is assuming that cash burn doesn't increase. I think for Q3 and Q4, cash burn might even increase further because of how many swap stations they're deploying and the vast number of stores that they're putting out. You know, back in 2021, 2022, they pretty much only had 2 NIO houses here in Beijing. Now they have 7. And very soon, by the end of this year, they're going to have 8 in Beijing. So that's just a little glimpse at how fast they're putting out infrastructure and expanding their sales network, which is pretty necessary in my opinion. My original plan for everything and how I see things, in my opinion, of course, was they launched a sub-brand at the end of this year for sub-brand vehicle to be available next year, and then that would actually be the savior for the company and actually generate a ton of cash flow and money for the company. But from the earnings report, the CEO said it's not coming until Q4 of next year. So you heard me right. The CEO said the sub-brand car is already available, but they're not launching it until Q4 of next year. That really baffled me a little bit. So looking at it now, in my opinion, all right, always my opinion, not financial advice, I think they may have to do another round of dilution or find financing somewhere else to shore up some more cash to survive through this whole period without the sub-brand. And also, they're not launching new cars next year. One good thing is we might see R&D expenses decrease next year because they're not launching new cars, and pretty much the money they're spending now is mainly on NT3 that they might launch at the end of this year. And then that also means next year it's just going to be focusing on selling the cars and improving production efficiency and try to get as many cars out there as they can. But at that cash burn rate, I do expect NIO to do some more financing things, get some more funding, some more dilution, or get some money elsewhere, or a co-op deal, a joint investment from some other company to get some cash injection in. Now, the third reason why I'm not worried about bankruptcy at all is because of how NIO is the darling of Anhui province, and the government has a lot of investment in pretty much NIO Park and in NIO in general to and when they formed NIO China, they pretty much saved NIO. The whole entire deal was an asset swap to move assets from NIO Inc. to NIO China, and then NIO Inc. owns like 90-some% of NIO China. It was a very smart move by NIO CEO and the government itself to pretty much save the company back in 2019 when things were the most dire. A very smart move. And so the government, the Anhui government, has a lot of interest in NIO. And even though NIO might not be the favorite child of the government in general in China, right? Of course, BYD is the government's most favorite child, but NIO is definitely the favorite child for Anhui province. It is their pride. And I think if things come push to shove, the Anhui government would be willing to inject a lot of money into NIO to, do another one of those deals to further shore things up. And also, you got to think about it this way. NIO is one of the first companies ever for a Chinese high-end brand to be able to sell abroad and actually do pretty well and have pretty much the Apple of China almost, and have a global reach and global influence outside of China. Lots of other companies have tried and failed at doing this, including the big tech companies here in China like Tencent, Alibaba, JD. These guys, they're big, massive companies, but they see very little success or recognition outside of China. If you ask an American if they know about JD, nobody knows about JD, man. I think the CEO deserves a bit more respect from you guys. A lot of you guys saying in the comments that he should be fired, that you guys think that management should be fired. Now, I'll have another video dedicated to management missteps and my opinion on things. But NIO CEO is the guy that saved the company back in 2019. He's the guy that's able to get those financing deals and get massive amounts of money and keep the company operating and expanding and growing. So whether or not NIO is going to go bankrupt or not, in my honest opinion, I do not think NIO will go bankrupt, but we might get close to the edge. All right, as always, stay safe, stay healthy, peace out.